Hello, so we are going to do a demo on the Hara work here, and I just want to point out a few things before I actually begin work, and that is that we have a really clear view of our client's face, and so that usually helps guide us if there's anything going on with them, as to if they're not enjoying something or something like that. But what I've discovered over doing work over a period of time is that people tend to process a lot of their emotions when they're getting their Hara work done. And so sometimes you'll see all kinds of facial expressions and grimaces, and so you might check in and say, is everything okay? And if they respond with like, yeah, then you need to remember that they're probably just processing their emotions, and don't concern yourself too much with grimaces or facial expressions. So just be mindful of that, okay? So I always like sitting on, let's see, their right-hand side, because this is the ascending colon and the transverse colon and the descending colon. So just, peristalsis goes in this direction. So I just make it a habit of always sitting on this, but there's no reason why you have to, it's just, that's what I choose to do. So we're going to begin with mother hand, sun hand on the Hara. And the thing that's just a little bit different, so let me go back a little bit and remind you of all of the stuff that you've learned before about working on the abdomen. So if you've taken circulatory, you've had talks about emotional release and all that kind of stuff. So remember, all of those things that you've learned in your previous classes still apply. So, but now I'm going to come in and feel for empties and fulls. And I've got it empty here. It happens to be underneath the heel of my hand. So I'm just going to go ahead and do the compression with just the heel of my hand. So same as you've learned before, as they exhale, you sink down. As they inhale, you maintain the level that you've gotten to. You don't come out. So sometimes they're pushing against you at that point. So coming in. And as you've probably been told before, coming out is very important to go at the same pace. So a little bit out with each exhale. Now, there's a lot of time it takes to do compressions. So the other thing that you can do is you use different parts of your hand. So if I have it empty here along the costal cartilages, I like to use the side of my hand for the compressions. And so what I'll do is I'll just move my hands, and then when I find it empty, maybe I have an empty here, I might just go ahead and roll into using my fingertips. So the difference here is that I'm using different parts of my hands for each of the compressions. So that, I think, is a nice thing to do. So I don't think you're going to benefit from watching me do a whole bunch of compressions. You saw me do one. But so you can use the heel of your hand. You can use the side of your hand. You can use your fingertips, or the whole palm if there's a big area. Okay. Oops, sorry. All right. So we'll take your time and do compressions. I don't think you need to see me do a whole bunch of compressions. So that combines kind of all of those things together, doing nice, slow compressions. The next move that we're going to do is pretty counterintuitive to anything you've learned before about working on the Hara, the abdomen. It is quick, can be somewhat deep compressions. So the important thing is to have a predictable rhythm. So sometimes if you want to try it out, sometimes I start on the leg just so that they can see So this will be the tempo, my tempo that I go to. And then I start going around. Now I go in a random pattern. I found that really, if there's any stagnation going on, that it really helps break up the stagnation if I don't follow the direction of digestion. Okay, so we're going to end with nice palm circles, giving the hara a clear indication of which direction it should be moving. But this way, and you can use 2 hands. This, I tell you, this is one of the best moves. Babies or elderly people who have intestinal stuff going on, this move is really, really, really great. Okay, so then we're gonna na. So think of it as gathering. So sometimes I'll use my fingertips. Sometimes I'll use the heels of my hand. I also like to come in and go along the costal cartilages and kind of roll your thumb in. And now we'll end with those wonderful palm circles. Going in the direction of digestion. And now we've got a transitional move. So I'm going to start up. I'm going to start on the hara. And I use the sides of my hands and I go right along the sternum. Especially if you're working with a woman, you don't want to touch their breasts. So I slide up and then go out and then brush down the arms. Again, slide up, brush out. And last one, slide up, brush out. And then we would begin.